All right, what's going on, Buffs Nation? Hope you're all having a wonderful Wednesday. And I hope specifically that Coach Prime is having an amazing birthday. Now, I forget how old he is. That doesn't really matter. He's still young at heart. And man, I love seeing the well off video today of just all the players going and doing their position coach impressions, coordinator impressions, Coach Prime impressions, all that. I thought that was really hilarious, and it seemed like Coach Prime got a ton of laughs for his birthday, and that's what you need to be doing on your birthday. You need to be laughing. You need to be having a good time. And yeah, it was nice to see that the guys got a little bit of an off day today, it seems. If we did have practice today, maybe y'all can correct me, but kind of been out today. Haven't seen any videos for press conferences come through today. So I don't believe that we did. But man, first off, as my I guess a birthday present to Coach Prime that I doubt he will ever see. Just again, wanting to say thank you for choosing this program that had no business getting a coach and recruiter of his caliber. And one half off or hats off to Coach Prime for going where he felt the most needed. If there was one program that definitely made that case, it was Colorado. We needed him to raise this program from the ashes. Essentially, I mean, CU was Lazarus, man. Jesus working miracles. Is Coach Prime Colorado's Jesus? I mean, he's pretty darn close to it, right? Nicholas Braxton, thank you for tuning in. Yeah, y'all hit that like, especially for Coach Prime. Let me know in the comments how y'all are doing, who's tuning in, and we're going to leave this a little bit open-ended. So if there's things on your mind, things on your chest that y'all want to get off, feel free to throw that here in the comments. But I wanted to talk with the fellas. I missed y'all today. Couldn't get a video out today, but I will be coming back with some more pre-recorded videos here this week, and looking forward to that. Chris Cobb is in the house as well. Wishing Coach Prime a wonderful birthday. Yes, especially with what this man has been through over the last, year and a half or so, with all of these surgeries, with the amputations. I can't imagine what recovery is like. You saw what Adam Munster-Tiger, I believe, was him who tweeted out today that he had to have an emergency draining of his surgically repaired Achilles. He says he's in a ton of pain. I cannot imagine what kind of pain Coach Prime is dealing with as he's rehabbing. And special man. And thoughts and prayers off to Adam as well as he goes into recovery. Glad he seems to be well. Al Love checking in. Great to see you. Fort Worth in the house. Al, are you going to the TCU game? You got to remind me. But I know Colin from Life and Football is going to be there. Man, the whole crew's here tonight. This is like our own celebration for Coach Prime. It's our own birthday party. Maybe I should have just labeled this as a birthday party. But man, we're up here. This is great. Zulus, good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. I believe you're out in Aurora, if I remember correctly. So good to see you. Mac Ent now. Good to see you. Oh my gosh. Miss Pleasantly Plump, Crystal Wise Williams, Jonas Littles, everybody's in here. And you're right, Jonas. This was a match made in heaven. And again, I don't want us as a CU, as a Buffaloes fan base, whether you've been with the university for years or you're just coming over here in the last 9 months, one thing that I want to define us in the black and gold is that we are not entitled asshole fans. I do not want that. And yes, we need to still be pushing our university and our program to be better. But man, let's take a minute to appreciate where Coach Prime has brought us. I mean, we know by now, but this can't be understated. Putting us on ESPN for our spring game compared to Georgia kicking them down to ESPN2, are you kidding me? And you'll see, I mean, we are one of the most followed teams on social media now in college football. And y'all can laugh that off as much as you want, but in 2023, that sort of stuff really matters for having a presence, having a brand presence. Uh, showing that you're relevant, right? He has resurrected us from the ashes of irrelevancy and brought us into the spotlight again. And then we know the recruiting. I mean, I think the year previous, man, I don't even think we were in the top 50 schools for recruiting. And look what he's done in just a few weeks after taking over the job. A top 25 class overall. I think 21st or so, number one transfer portal class. We flipped this roster. We got 70 plus new guys. We got walk-ons that matter. Are you kidding me? We got a coaching staff with Sean Lewis where this never happens, where we buy Sean Lewis out of his current head coaching contract and we double his salary on top of that. Man, the commitment, the involvement from the boosters to the institution on finally changing their academic requirements, man, none of this would ever have happened without Coach Prime. So, Coach Prime, thank you, thank you, thank you. Y'all know on this channel that I have been maybe going against the grain or asking for some unprecedented things because, I mean, this whole thing is just unprecedented. How we've gone about this since Coach Prime's come in here. Give this man an extension. I don't care that we don't have wins, on the football field yet. We're winning in every other area. I mean, have you seen what we've done with the kitchen? Did you see what Dylan Edwards was eating the other day compared to, nasty, church summer camp food that the boys over at Michigan are eating? Man, we're eating 5-star meals every day. We're putting the seasoning on the food, at least on the kitchen campus, or at least on the campus kitchen. And I mean, Coach Prime, he has helped us elevate in every single area. And he's an investment that is paying off tenfold every year. And no one could be doing. Urban Meyer couldn't be doing this. Nick Saban, I don't think, could be doing this. Getting us on spring game after a 1-11 season. No way. It takes a special person, someone who's unique, one of one, to be doing what he's doing this quickly. And you need to pay for that uniqueness. Make him, if not the top college football coach in terms of pay, at least make him top 5. And, like Rick George said, the money will be there. We're going to get the money. And that's what I'm saying. The money's going to be there, especially now that we're moving to the Big 12. I mean, we got $32 million to spend, right? And a nice chunk of that needs to go to Coach Prime. Absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and I do want to touch on SMU here in a little bit, but I'm going to check in with the fellas as well. Let's see what everyone's got to say. Aaron. Hey, David, happy birthday, Coach Prime. Hey, what's Coach Prime's zodiac sign? I'm going to look this up right now because I think that stuff is hilarious. Zodiac sign if your B-day is today. He's a Leo. Dude, I don't know much about Leos, but I take it Coach Prime's an amazing Leo. I'm a Sagittarius, probably, if you couldn't tell. Dion, 56, 57. Yeah, man, he's got another 40 years left, man. Especially as technology and medical care continues to develop. Heck, Coach Prime, he might be the first coach to coach a football game on Mars here at some point, right? I mean, y'all know how much I love space and aliens, so that would be cool. Renee, Brett Yormark wanted all time zones, excellent basketball, solid football. SMU doesn't check any of those boxes yet. But if they're offering the ACC, hey, you don't got to give us any money for 5 years, and they got $1 billion to put towards, their athletic program or whatever. I mean, they were saying 200 million going to their program over the next 5 years from their boosters to offset the lack of TV revenue that would come in getting zero from the ACC. I mean, they got money. They got money. They can legally pay players now. I think a lot of people that are fans of the old Southwest Conference, old Big Eight, really hate SMU. But at the end of the day, they got a lot of money behind what they're doing. They've had a handful of bowl appearances the last 6-7 years, right? And I mean, their NIL, their investment, their money, I mean, it's just getting started again. And I think that they will be a major player. They seem like they are damn serious about being a player in Power 5 football, and they might not be there right now. That's why it's a little bit of a risk, right? But it seems like a lot of these fans from the Southwest Big 8 days really hate SMU for maybe all the paying the players 40 years ago and how arrogant their fans are or how arrogant their alumni are. We need some heels. We need to sell some of these fights, right? And at the end of the day, people don't realize this. They're a bigger school than TCU. And what did TCU? They needed commitment from their alumni base. They needed commitment from the institution. And I mean, you've seen what they've been able to do with their brand over the last 15 years, right? I mean, this is like a penny stock, right? Especially when you don't have to share revenue with them. And you get to keep Texas as pretty much Big 12 territory outside of, UT and A&M there with the SEC. But you keep any other conference from getting in there. Now, another buy low eventually could be a program like UTSA. They've actually performed, I believe, a little bit better than SMU has. But again, I don't know if UTSA has that oil money, right? Is that how they say it in Dallas? We've got that oil money. Oil. Let's go. It's definitely football season. 2 weeks and counting, man. Yeah, man, we're almost halfway there. I mean, just less than a month till TCU. What we got 3 weeks, right? I cannot believe it. That's right, Aurora 303. Let's go, Matt. I think Sean Lewis will be gone next year if you got a good offer. Absolutely, he wants the head job anyway, and that's why I came here. I mean, if Shador balls out, breaks all the school records, we got a winning record. I mean, blowing past any of the Vegas odds and most of the mainstream expectations, right? You gotta believe that he is going to be in high demand for another Power 5 job, but this time at the head coaching level. And hats off to him. I think that's also why they, CU, Coach Prime, they're able to entice Brett Bartolone over here because I would imagine that he would just slide back up into that offensive coordinator role. He's been with Shador his whole career. And that's kind of how I think things have been set up. Bring in a guy that's maybe a little bit more seasoned than Brett Bartolone is in terms of this level for what's needed. But after being here another year, he's somebody I think that could slide in and do a really great job. I mean, you saw how he called that offense last year at Jackson State. I mean, 40 touchdowns from Shador, man. But I think that's the plan. And again, one thing that I love about Coach Prime is that his football network runs deep. We will never have to face an issue under him where we got to be worried about not having guys qualified for the roles that they are being hired for here. If anything, they are much overqualified. They're well overqualified for the roles that they're being hired here for, which is night and day different from what we've had to deal with this staff for the most part throughout the last 15 years. And I mean, you saw what happened on the Broncos, right? When you got a guy that doesn't have connections like Nathaniel Hackett, everybody is getting elevated into their highest role for the first time. They're inexperienced, they're not seasoned, and you get the mess that you got last year. We're not going to have that with CU ever. These boys are going to be well coached. I mean, Urban Meyer was saying it that it surprised him to some extent. Now, I'm sorry, my lighting's been terrible. I'm going to try and fix it. I broke my ring light the other day, but we're going to try and go with this natural light right now. All right. Man, I love how, I got to say this too. I love it when all the commenters, all my regular viewers, you guys jump in here and then y'all are saying hi to each other. I freaking love that. It is so cool. Nicholas Braxton bringing up a great point. Tulane's program, and they're right there in Big 12 country, right? And I know that there's some smoke or, MHver3 or whatever. He was talking on a Twitter space, which I believe was his first time ever coming out and speaking on a UCF Twitter space. And he was talking about a whole bunch of things. But he was saying he wouldn't be surprised if Cal and Stanford, if they actually do this ACC thing, he wouldn't be surprised if Brett Yormark goes after Oregon State and Wazoo. And I mean, that's great. But at the same time, man, I like how regionally cohesive right now this expanded Big Ten is. Outside of, well, I mean, I guess you got some teams kind of out there on an island on the East Coast, but the majority of the teams, 75% of the teams, they're all within reach of each other, right? Very close plane rides, within a couple hours or so. And I just like that. I like the regionality of college football. I know we're going away from that. So, we'll just have to see. But Tulane, they've done a hell of a job, going from 2-10 or whatever to 11-2. That Cotton Bowl win. See, I got it right. Didn't call it the Rose Bowl. They got that Cotton Bowl win over USC. That was amazing. And they're definitely a brand on the rise that, they honestly, a program like SMU or Tulane, Wazoo fans won't want to hear this, but I get a lot more excited about those two schools than I do Wazoo. I know that Wazoo, they always punch above their weight in terms of viewership, and they put out some good teams lately, but I don't know, man. It just doesn't do too much for me. I like the added rivalry and hate that would come with adding a school like SMU and with the money that they'd be throwing around. And hey, if we don't got to pay them if the Big 12 does not have to pay SMU, for the 6 years or whatever this conference media deal is, man, I mean, why not? Why not take a chance? If we don't like them, what? Could we kick them out? We'll have to see. But that's just my thought. Tulane would be an interesting ad, though. I'm surprised they're not brought up more. I want all of us to have a tailgate at a home game, man. I would love that. I know that Alpine Garage, Chris, he'll be having them. I got to still see what games I'll be at this year. I'll definitely be at the USC game. One of my good friends who's a Trojan, he's flying in here. And I would love to meet so many of you guys in person for real. So we're going to have to do a YouTube collaboration or party or whatever with a lot of us content creators. Definitely stop by the DMVR tailgate. I've been trying to meet these DMVR guys forever, but it just never seems to work out for me. I'm always too late to the tailgate, or I forget that they're doing a meet and greet or whatever. I love them though. Nicholas Braxton bringing up a thing that I did not know. He made the 30 under 30 for coaches. I didn't know that. When was he named that? I'm learning something new. And that's why I like doing this live format, is because I can learn just like you guys do. But Anthony, you're right. He's only leaving his Power 5 job. I mean, yeah, he was a head coach at Kent State, right? Nothing less. So, yeah. And Power 5 jobs don't come open as often. So maybe there's the possibility that he sticks around for 2 years. But I do think Brett Bartolone's that next guy in waiting. Chris Cobb, another outstanding show, David. Keep it up. Man, I love doing this. Again, I have so much fun doing this, and it's been a dream of mine to have this. Again, I did a YouTube channel when I was 15. That was half my life ago. I'm 30 now. And I couldn't deal with all the people being just assholes to me, man, at 15. People being rude. And you got grown men shit talking, teenagers. Now it happens on TikTok all the time, man. It's just ridiculous. Like adults, like including myself, like y'all got to chill out when a teenager is making a video, man. Because it made me really just want to not pursue it for a while. And I originally applied to colleges as wanting to go into sports journalism, and I can't imagine now, where I'd be at if I'd stuck with that channel that I started 15 years ago, where I'm connecting my camcorder that records on like a videotape to my computer, uploading. It would take like all day, right? I can't imagine where my channel would be at now. And I would imagine that I would be doing this full time now for many years. So, uh, yeah, if you see young content creators, encourage the hell out of them, even if you don't agree with their takes, because, I'm not nearly as sensitive as I was as, a 15, 16-year old, right? But, you know, one thing that I wish that our society would do better at is more encouraging each other and less shitting on each other, right? We really need to build each other up because, um, that's the only way we grow as a society. And we would have more content out there, I think, that we would enjoy if we interact with people in a positive, uplifting way rather than literally, you know, crapping on a kid that's trying to do his best, right? So, all that to say, I'm really glad that I got to the place this year where I was like, you know what? I got to give this a shot. This is an opportunity that I can't let pass me by, And it's amazing what happens when you just put yourself out there and you don't give a shit about being perfect. And I mean, y'all know I make mistakes. I remember things incorrectly. I'm not the best, evaluating film or anything like that. But I come out here, I try to do my best. I try and improve, and y'all can see my growth. And I just have so much fun with this, and it's been great being able to meet all of you guys. And again, we're just getting started. We are just getting started. Mac Ent, Coach Lewis and Kelly will probably be gone if the money's right. I don't blame them. That's the move anyway. Yes, this is head coach you. As much as we talk about this being DBU or CBU, this is head coach you. Andre Hart said it. Coach Prime is going to make a lot of guys head coaches, and that's exactly what's going to happen. But I'm not stressing that. One of the things that I look forward to the most is growing my college football fanhood, because anybody from the Coach Prime coaching tree, I am going to be all for, and I'm definitely going to be following. And maybe that's where this channel expands a little bit as we get into the future, making sure we touch base with some of these programs that will have connection to CU and Coach Prime, right? I mean, that's going to be so exciting. And I mean, I know we got Coach TC already at Jackson State, who I do want to follow and keep tabs on. But I mean, y'all get what I'm saying. Like when they were actually coaches here at CU, I think that's where I'm going to take more, vested interest in, if that makes sense. Coach Kelly ain't leaving, which means Sal Sinceri ain't leaving. Absolutely. We need to, we need to make sure we keep that man happy. Sal is a treasure. But Ent, you think he's retiring if a losing season? Maybe. But I think the biggest thing for him is to make sure that he sees his guys growing regardless of the record. David talks Buffs. What's the high school atmosphere like since Coach Prime has been up there? Well, John Cronenberg, who I had on last night, and I'm going to have him on Friday as well. He is from here, so he played high school football here. He can probably speak better to that. But if you're expecting it to be anything like Texas, it's not. I would imagine, and I don't really keep tabs much on Colorado high school football. It's really Valor, Christian, High School, and Cherry Creek are the main schools to keep track of out here. But again, our population's so small. The Denver metro area is about 3 million. I think the Dallas-Fort Worth area in itself is like, what? DFW population, is it like 10 times that? No, it's it's twice that. It's 6.5 million people. The state has like 30,000 people, right? So you got a larger population. You have a culture that we love football here, but Texas is football. Like that, like you see half the quarterbacks in the NFL are from the state of Texas. It's just a different level there, and it's No other states like it. Maybe some of you Florida people might be upset hearing that, but I mean, Texas is a different animal. It really is. So, I mean, I remember the first high school football game in Texas I went to was Abilene High, because I lived in Abilene, against Odessa Permian. And man, I mean, yeah, that stadium was packed. We had more games, than we did at the Division One college, at Abilene Christian, at the time. And man, when we would have the crosstown rivalry of Cooper versus Abilene High, both 5A programs, at the time. I mean, you're getting 40,000 fans there, and it's insane. And then you look at the Dallas Fort Worth area. I mean, they can get more than that. It's insane the amount of money that flies around in Texas high school football. Anthony Steele says he doesn't think they'll leave for money. The coaches are looking for Power 5 jobs, which automatically comes with money. Absolutely. Thank you for that distinction. They're looking for the right opportunity, and that's going to come with money. And I think you could say the same thing about Coach Prime. This is a great mix of, I didn't realize this, that he's making more money than Dan Lanning was, until a couple weeks ago. We put him in the top 15, I believe, in paid college football coaches, highest paid college football coaches. And now it's our responsibility to get him into that top 5 at least, because he has already exceeded expectations. Maybe not his expectations, but definitely the majority of the CU fan base so far with what they could have done. Hold on, guys, real quick. I'm going to turn on this overhead light. Hopefully, y'all can see me a little bit better now that the sun's going down. Yeah, that's a little bit better, right? Okay. Chris Cobb, SMU will be in the ACC next month, just like the SEC on Florida State and Clemson coming August 15th. I mean, yeah, that's on Monday, right? We find out on Monday what the next move is. And man, that would just be insane. But I like SMU. Maybe it's just because I like their colors. I loved watching the Pony Excess documentary on the ESPN 30 for 30. And I think maybe I just find that entertaining, that you got a bunch of rich guys with their oil money that they just did not care about flaunting how much they were paying the players, getting sloppy with it, and not being ashamed to just go out and do it, right? But it seems to me, I mean, I wasn't alive during their prominence, but it seems to me like they built quite a brand. They were getting recruits. It was exciting football. I love the city of Dallas. And you can argue that maybe they don't have a ton of fans in Dallas, but y'all are getting too crazy if you don't think that, any school that becomes a winner, the fans always follow. It's not like they never do, right? That's what I'm trying to say. And I mean, you've seen it with smaller schools like TCU and Baylor, and investing in their programs, smaller private religious schools. Even though I don't believe even SMU or TCU now even have their Masters of Divinity, seminaries or anything like that. Y'all could correct me if I'm wrong on that. Maybe SMU still does. But outside of that, more so irreligious, just private universities now, a little bit different than maybe what you would expect from BYU or where I went to undergrad at Abilene Christian. We'll just have to see how that plays out. But I want to see them in here. I think interesting personalities, interesting foes, hatred that sells fights. I'm all for it. Let's see here. I'm going through here. No way. No way. DMVR. Dad Bod. They gave you a shout out the other day. Dad Bod. I don't know who that is. Did you mean to say David? I don't think so. Oh, yeah, you did. Dad Bod's hilarious. They gave you a shout out the other day. Man, I gotta check that out. I gotta make sure I get through, because one of the things that sucks about making more content, which I love doing, by the way, but I don't exactly have as much time to watch content, you know, anymore. Like before, I was making videos, so I don't watch the DMVR show as much. I still try and make it when I can, but I'll need to check that out because we'll go back and forth on Twitter a little bit and stuff like that. I'm still trying to meet up with them. I hope it can happen soon. I mean, those guys are awesome. And they're just good vibes, man. I just love DMVR. Coach Sal and Kelly took the CU post with very little risk. They'll always have an open door back at Alabama. I think that's pretty clear. Could y'all see the OC leaving for Cal? Chris Griffin. I guess it depends on where Cal is, where they're playing college football, and if it's the right situation, because it's been publicized a lot how they're in one of the most financially dire situations right now in all of college football, and it's going to be hard to recruit. It's going to be hard to recruit, especially if you have your hands tied behind your back, not only with not a big NIL collective, which we have suffered from in the past, but also what we have suffered from in the past has been the academic standards to get into the university. Cal has that. They still have that, even as a public university. And I mean, you've seen what CU's been able to do now with making the right hire and getting rid of those rules. Cal has yet to do that. Same with Stanford. But again, they're kind of more along the lines of Notre Dame when it comes to those sorts of things. So, or maybe Notre Dame's more along the lines of Stanford, depending on how you look at it, right? But I think if Sean Lewis were to take a job like that, he would want to have full availability of all the guys in the transfer portal, which Cal doesn't have. Darren Jennings, any plans for Media Day Friday? No, not me personally, but I hope to get a credential at some point. I mean, that would be really cool. I've noticed that the guys that they have at these press conferences after practice, I mean, it is a small number. It is not very many. But we'll just have to see. Maybe one day that will change. But I'll definitely try and tune in for the press conferences. Again, I've been working my butt off so much this first half of the week, and one of the good news for that is that I will reach my contracted hour limit pretty early this week. So I should have plenty of time on Friday to catch up on any videos and podcasts. Then. Those are the two I like, RK and Jake, especially when they interview guys like Uncle Neely. The Uncle Neely DNVR partnership has been one of the best things to come out of this whole thing we've been experiencing this year. And just hats off to DNVR, man, because they were putting out weekly podcasts, sometimes multiple a week, when we're going 1-11 and well before that. And they have been my go-to source for talking Buffs. So great that we have more channels, more podcasts coming out. Folsom Frenzy, I'm hoping to have on here, pretty soon. I've been going back and forth with them. Again, CU super fans, founding the C Unit section, all of that. It's been great to see their podcast come out. And I mean, we're only growing from here. Again, the fan base, man, we were just so dormant. We were just so dormant for a while. And you know how passionate we can get because you see like how passionate and sometimes, hopefully we never get that toxic, how toxic us Broncos fans can be. But, the Broncos almost have an impossible standard to live up to every year out here. David talks Buffs, just be you. I like that you're true. I like your true Buff fan perspectives, man. I love that, man. And yeah, it was so special being able to come out here for grad school because it just kind of took everything to that next level, being able to experience it, having the student tickets, being on campus every day and all of that. I wish that it would have worked out for me to, come to school here for undergrad, but it just wasn't in the cards, and that's okay. Life has played out the way that it's needed to play out. Man, Landon Lee, imagine CU playing UCF. Yes, because there is a world in which here in a couple of years, CU and UCF, not only are they both donning the black and gold, but they also might be the top two rated recruiters in the Big 12. I mean, UCF is just killing it right now. Gus Malzahn is a great head coach. Again, he was my brother-in-law's head coach at Springdale High years and years ago in Northwest Arkansas. I've loved to see the success that he has had. And I mean, they got serious NIL money. They're recruiting like crazy, and they are one of the schools that, I mean, I know that this probably isn't probable, but I would want to see us play each other every year. I know that there will be a rotation of maybe 4 or 5 schools that CU will play every year within the conference, you know, those main rivals. And then after that, you know, it's going to be a rotation. Now, could that increase if we go to, you know, we take that 12-game season and we say, you know what, screw the 9-game conference schedule. Let's do 10 or 11 conference games and just do one out of conference. I would love that as much as I love the Rocky Mountain Showdown. Get rid of those matchups against these smaller schools. A lot of schools will just schedule 2 out of the 3 cupcakes or whatever. CU's never, they've always scheduled, I feel like, pretty tough opponents, aside from maybe, you know, depending on how CU is or CSU is and how bad we are. We usually do schedule pretty tough out of conference games, but you know, some people would be like, well, then we won't have as much out of conference, you know, like see the Big 10 go up against the Big 12 or see how the ACC does against the SEC. Well, now with the expanded college football playoff, you're going to have more opportunity to see those conferences go against each other in the playoffs. So again, and it only increases your media deal. You know, the SEC is too scared to go to 9 or 10 conference games, even with their 16-team size now. And that's something that could continue to elevate the Big 12, taking a different approach, saying, you know what, this is a gauntlet and we're not scared. We want to sell more money fights, right? I mean, I would love that, because when you're talking about UCF, I would love for them to be scheduled as an opponent that CU would play regularly. I know that though that will usually be decided by the closest schools in proximity, you know, to these different regions. You know, I've seen a lot of, you know, CU circled with, you know, some of the old Big 8 teams or Big 12 teams, you know, Iowa State, Kansas, you know, or Oklahoma State or whatever. And I think that's likely probably the teams that we will play most regularly. But I would like to see maybe Brett Yormark come out this from more fight promoter standpoint. You know, give us Kansas State, right? Give us UCF. I think that would be cool. Give us TCU. I think that could be a rivalry developing up here. You know, I would like to see us playing those schools, and especially like playing a Florida school like, you know, UCF every year would be big time for recruiting. It would be in our advantage, of course. But maybe the Big 12, maybe that's why they're not so interested in a school like SMU. Maybe we do want to get our hands more into, you know, or our roots in Florida a little bit. Maybe USF. We'll have to see her. What I think could be really possible is the University of Miami. I don't really, to me, it doesn't seem like SEC fans or Big 10 fans really want University of Miami there, you know, the Hurricanes. But, you know, they're a Showtime brand. They're not afraid to do things differently. I think, heck, do a 7-on-7 tournament with all the Big 12 schools in Miami every spring. Make a show out of it. Why not? Dude, I want to see CU play FSU so bad in Colorado on a Saturday night. Man, I would love for us to schedule some home and homes with them. I just have this feeling, though, that FSU feels above it. That's just my take on it. I don't think we're afraid to play anybody, except maybe Alabama. We'll see. Or Georgia. I don't know if Coach Prime would want to be scheduling those out just yet, but I think he would relish at the opportunity to do it. I would love to see it because, again, we're going to be battling Florida State for recruitment all the time now. I would love to see it. And, yeah, enough of that. remember those California versus Texas All-Star games. Yeah. Yeah, Chris. And, this is a throwback too. I remember it might have been season 3 or season 4 of Friday Night Tykes, where they had, Team Texas go against Team California. And that show, Friday Night Tykes, especially that first season, that was a crazy show. And my wife's from San Antonio, so there's been times where I've been down there and I've seen like some of those teams be playing, as we're in a certain area or whatever. It's just crazy. But did y'all watch Friday Night Tykes? That show was absolute madness, and I could not stop watching it. I mean, you had that coach suspended for like telling those kids to headhunt and to tackle with their heads, and like, man, it was just, that was a crazy show. And I was kind of bummed to see that the star of that whole series, Mizell Miller, seemed like he kind of peaked in junior high. I don't think he had one D1 offer. He either graduated this past year or the year before. I don't think he had one D1 offer. But man, he was a beast. Also, people need to remember Coach Prime almost landed Brian Early from University of Houston to coach the D-line because he got Sal. Kelly was to leave. He will call Coach Early. Man, that's a great point. That's a great point. Again, his roots are so connected, man. Anthony Steele coming up with an idea. Got to get those interviews at high schools. That content's gold right now, even if it's just a by the way conversation. That's an interesting idea. I live out here in Westminster, which is just right next to Broomfield, where I lived here when I was here in grad school, because I could not afford to live in Boulder. We lived in a 470 square foot apartment in Broomfield, and I commuted. I took the bus to campus, which was awesome most days. But Broomfield was state champs out here, so that this past year. So that's actually a pretty good idea. Maybe I'm able to get out to some high school games and see what's going on, or even up in Longmont, because I've seen that so some of those guys have been recruited by other Big 12 schools such as Kansas State. We're going to start to be in more recruiting battles with them now, which is going to be great. Sorry guys, my nose is itching. I'm going to fast forward here through more. Let's see. Man, I got to comment on Aggie fans really quick, man. So I went on like this carnival cruise when I was in college years and years ago with some buddies of mine. I might have told this on a live stream forever ago, but it was like in January, and we just went on the college budget. It was 5 nights, and I think it came out to like $200 each. But we got like the smallest room, so there were no windows, and we didn't realize like how screwed we were not having windows, because we'd be out partying, drinking, all of that all night, stay until the clubs close at like must have been like 3 a.m. or whatever. And then we go to sleep, and then we wake up and we're going to get breakfast. And, it's like 2 p.m. Our whole cycle got thrown off. So if you go on a cruise, get a window. You need that light, right? But man, everybody that was on these cruises, everybody was cool to hang out with. The Texas Tech guys, they were hilarious. We had a great time hanging out with the Tech guys. I didn't see any UT people, but there were TCU people there. There were Baylor people there. Man, who else? There were some other like smaller schools in Texas that were there, and like everybody's repping their stuff, right? But then who's repping their stuff even more? It's all the Aggie fans, and they're all wearing like their stupid like Fisher Aggie clothes, and like they just stayed to themselves. It was like they just felt like they were better than everybody. And I hated that. And then I really hated when they came out here a couple years ago for our game at Mile High Stadium against CU that we almost won after injuring their quarterback. I mean, they were all there out. I was out hanging out with some friends on Friday night downtown, and all the Aggie fans are there, all dressed in their Aggie gear. Von Miller's like the only Aggie I really like. and they did their stupid midnight yell at a high school out here. It might have been Denver West, but the sprinklers went off on them, and like the midnight yell. I don't know. Aggie fans, it's like a cult. It's a straight up cult. It's weird. It's weird. Y'all are an agricultural school. Y'all need to act like you're Notre Dame or MIT or whatever. Mac, Uncle Neely is a vibe. You can tell when Uncle Neely comes on the show. RK and J act like fans. Neely's a jewel to the Buffs media, even though he reps JSU. Yeah, and I remember like there's a lot of JSU fans that like don't seem to like Neely. Seems like there's like some beef there with him changing his logo to Buffs colors or covering Buffs games. And dude, I don't know. That's drama that I am not a part of, but I am very thrilled that he covers this team. And I hope Colorado's been treating him well. Again, moving out here like Colorado, everyone's nice, everyone's high, whether that be on mushrooms or weed or, whatever. Like it's hard to be in a bad mood when you live out here. Like it's just a nice place to live. But it's not like outgoing, overly friendly like you'll experience in the South, where like that was one of the culture shocks for me when I moved down to Illinois to Texas for school. Just having random strangers, as they're passing you, looking you out in the eye and saying, "How you doing?" I was like, "What the hell? Like, I don't know your name. Like, that's really weird." But as I lived in Texas longer, I really learned to appreciate that. And then I started doing it, and you can just talk to people that you don't know, and everybody's overly friendly, and people will stop to talk to you. That's not how it is here. Everybody's a little bit more to themselves. And it's not that they're mean people or anything like that. We're just a little bit more to ourselves out here. But I wouldn't call Colorado like we're hospitable, but we don't have like that Southern hospitality type of style. It's not located in the South. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit different of a friendliness. And I hope that with a lot of the players and, Coach Neely, which I was getting at, I hope that they've really been able to enjoy it, even though it probably feels different to them. Living out here a little bit culturally, but you can learn to appreciate it and grow from it. And I mean, that's how you grow as a person, living in different areas, and then you pick up different pieces of those cultures. I mean, it's why I'll never stop saying y'all. I will always say it. It's just part of who I am now. Am I looking forward to the new CBS Colorado show, Prime's Playbook? You bet your you bet your butt. I'll say that. I shouldn't curse too much on here. My mama watches these. I'm sorry, Mom. But yeah, I'm very excited for that, and we'll see how it goes. I know it will be. I know that it's going to get great ratings. I mean, when doesn't Coach Prime get amazing ratings, right? I'm going to love it. Oh man, well that is an honor to be mentioned in your top 3, man, because those guys are hella good at what they do, and I hope one day I can go full time with this. I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now. I'm making freaking more money than I ever would have thought going freelance, but my goal is to take over the world, and I'm gonna do it in my style though. Yeah, CU definitely needs to play USF, especially with them being in the run for Coach Prime as well. I would love that. Mac, my dad said back when he was a teenager, conferences didn't mean a thing. He said you'd have schools like Alabama playing Notre Dame, Georgia playing UCLA. They just paired whoever. Yeah, You're and you had a lot more schools, a few decades ago being independent. But now the media deals are so they're so important, and they give you such a larger financial advantages over schools that don't. Anthony Steele, I had to trim back on CU content. I only follow a few now. Just some are too outrageous. Yeah, I think, man, I definitely follow less than I did in like December again before I started this channel. So yeah, I try and watch other people when I can. I think maybe it's like me having ADHD or whatever, but like I'm always like excited about the next thing, right? And so I've been watching a lot more Big 12 channels lately to get familiar with them. As you've seen, I've started to collaborate, being on their shows, having them on my shows, kind of growing that network a little bit, which is fun. But yeah, it's been fun getting to know those schools again that will be playing here in about a year. Charlie, good to see you. Great show, David. I'm checking in from Macao today. Is that how you pronounce it? Super excited for what I've seen from practices. A part of me feels the coaches are using some mixed direction on info for TCU. Man, I wouldn't put that past them. I mean, these guys, Coach Prime is methodical with every freaking thing he says and does. So, I mean, you got to be imagining that they're having strategy for what they're putting out. I mean, you don't think he's talking to Bucky about that, or Bucky's providing ideas, right? David, we all go into 10 conference games. It makes sense for every Big 12 SEC to play. Man, yeah. These conferences are too big to be only playing 9 games now. Something has to change. And I'm going to be pissed off because, again, I like that college sports. I like that, well, particularly college football. Basketball, as you know, I think needs to change a ton before I'm ever going to get super into it. But I like that college football is different. It's a different product from the NFL. I like how the hash marks are wider. I like how you stop the clock in, the last however many minutes when you get a first down. So the refs don't get in the way for them being out of shape. I like the fact that the season is more digestible. It's not 17 regular season weeks with another, 4 or 5 weeks of postseason after that. I like that it's shorter. And part of that is because, these are student athletes, but I'm going to be pissed if they extend the regular season. That should not happen. Like, you're already extending the postseason now for at least 12 schools. Like, I like that football season doesn't go 9 months long. Like, I like that we have these different seasons to talk about, right? I hope the regular season stays at 12 games, but something needs to give with these bigger conferences, and that means more conference games out of those 12. Let's see. J. Dot. The QB from that show is the QB from Houston. Are you talking about Friday Night Tykes? He quit football his senior year. He said his body couldn't take it anymore. Oh my gosh. What's his name? I'm going to need to look into that. Y'all ready for Hard Knocks? Bucky is doing with Amazon about the Buffs. I cannot wait for it. Season 2, baby. They're supposed to begin with JSU and lead to the current Colorado practices. I can't wait. Oh, is this a little bit different than the Coach Prime Amazon series, or is it the same thing? But man, I loved watching that Jackson State stuff last year. Man, that was crazy. Seeing him put to a team vote, kicking that guy off the team. Man, seeing that broadcasted. I mean, that was Showtime, man. That was crazy. But I'm here for it. Yeah, I just went in on Texas A&M. Like I know a lot of people hate, Longhorns fans, whatever. Nah, man, I'm cool with a lot of Longhorns fans, and a lot of Longhorns fans, to be honest, are making the Buffs their Big 12 team now, moving to the SEC. So I feel like there's kind of an alliance. I've always cheered for the Longhorns. As Colorado's been outside the Big 12, and I'm a Manning fan, so obviously I'm keeping tabs on that. But yeah, man, like A&M, they think they're just better than everybody, and y'all are an agricultural school in the middle of nowhere in College Station, and I mean it's no different from Waco, Texas. They act like it's the mecca of everything college. Yeah, man, that's the one thing. You just got to be happy living in small spaces out here. Got to get comfortable with it. Having a yard is a luxury. Believe me. Let's see. All right, AAR, good to see you again. Well, David, for a $200 million SMU university, you tell me should the Big 12 conference answer their calls? Absolutely. Hey, if we don't, if we can make money off of them without having to give them any TV revenue, fine, man. Let's do it, man. Let's charge up these rivalries. And y'all are looking at what SMU is right now, man. And what they're doing, it's serious, man. Like working on their stadium, renovating that. Again, they're not going to get a guy like Colin Simmons, but they've been in the running, and they're starting. They have been recruiting like a lower level Power Five. They have been. Yeah, they're going to be right there, and you just got to give them a little bit of time. I mean, you don't think that now they can pay players legally, that they're not going to be, a powerhouse waiting to happen again at some point. And part of me wants to see them succeed because the death penalty was ridiculous. Yes, they got sloppy, but every other school in the Southwest Conference and in the SEC and all these big time programs were all paying players. They just weren't as sloppy. But it's so hypocritical of all these other schools to claim the moral high ground on them when they're doing the same stuff. And I think that's my issue with it, is that you see some teams persecuted for it, and I just always thought it was stupid. Coach must have had, yeah, he definitely trademarked his playbook. That's great. David talks Buffs. You should apply to be a sideline reporter to assist well off media during games. Hey, here's the thing. If y'all make that happen on Twitter, I'm down for it, man. I am down for it. Who knows if Bucky knows who I am? But yeah, I'll slide in the comments. I'll put myself out there, but I need y'all to back me up now. Off the subject, I actually went all the way back to the well-off media first few videos. It's good. Shiloh and Shadar were in camp, and they looked like babies. Yeah. You saw when Bucky posted that video of him and Shador wrestling when Shador was still in high school. I mean, it's or like he must have been a senior in high school maybe, but yeah, it's amazing how much their bodies have transformed, and they've really put in the work. Oh, yeah, Lucas Coley, University of Houston quarterback. I'm gonna need to check that out. That's a throwback, man. That show. Yeah, SMU, that's some old money, baby. They don't play when they're recruiting. Absolutely. They're going to give you the gold Cadillacs and all that, or whatever it was. What was the car? Got to remind me. Greg Swain, good to see you, man. I owe y'all a text. I'm sorry. Just know that I haven't forgot about it, okay? Tell Tad Boyle I said hello. And as far as SMU goes, there's there 7 current members of the Big 12 that have more alumni in Dallas than SMU does. No, thank you. Hey, man, totally see your point. Absolutely. You're right about that. And again, these big blue bloods or whatever in Texas, they're kings. They're the kings of it. But I kind of see them as penny stock. And if we could get them for really cheap and it's not going to hurt the conference, why not? Why not? Wouldn't you guys want to beat their ass every year, right? I know I would. SMU is a good fit for the Big 12, definitely. Should be getting a call to join the league, definitely. Yeah, But again, even if it doesn't make well, I guess these decisions are a lot more complex than just, I'd want to see the matchups, right? And that's really what it comes down to. There's a lot more politics involved, all that. Yes, Anthony, the gold Corvette. We need to bring back the gold Corvettes now that we have NIL, right? Who's going to be the first one to flaunt a gold Corvette? It better be a player from SMU. All right, guys, I'm going to go for a few minutes here, and then I'm going to log off. We all encourage this student at Colorado to be a sideline reporter named Peyton. She didn't want to do it at first. Now she's a regular reporting for the Buffs. You can do it, David. Yes. Yes. Yes, I remember Peyton. And now she's getting out there doing it. You see what happens when you encourage people and you don't tear young people down? Oh man, yeah, I just remember, man, and maybe it was the NFL and YouTube back then, 15 years ago was just different. There were no like professional shows on here, podcasts or anything like that. This is a little bit of YouTube history for some of y'all, maybe that weren't on YouTube in like 2009, 2010 regularly, right? Or even before that. But when you were making content, they said you were part of the TTC, the trash talking circle. And just because I was like throwing Broncos videos out there talking about Kyle Orton or whatever, Josh McDaniels, and I was like was grafted into that as a 15-year-old without even really asking for it, because you got all these guys coming on here that are just they're talking shit, they're making fun of me and all that, and it just took all the fun out of it. Like I was just trying to I was just trying to grow, and you got these grown ass men that are making other videos trolling me as like a 15-year-old. And I mean, y'all know my temperament. Like, y'all know that I'm not going out there like causing fights with people and stuff like that. It was just a crazy time to be a YouTuber, and I just hope that we can just move away from that, man. It was fucking crazy. I'm sorry for dropping the F word, but YouTube back then, before it was acquired from Google, was fucking crazy if you were making content. And yeah, like it I was also writing, this was before MHR, Mile High Report was kind of a more professional, big time publication out here. Now they're like credentialed and stuff like that, I believe. But I would write previews like every week for the Broncos, and they would put that shit up on the homepage, and they'd send me thank you cards for writing and like all this stuff. And yeah, but I just kind of lost having fun with it. And I think now that I'm older and been through more, and you just become wiser as you age, hopefully. I'm just gonna have fun with this. And um I think that's really it. Like, regardless of how many games we win or lose, like, y'all can always come to my channel, because even if we mess up or screw up or whatever, I'm gonna be sad or down or whatever. But at the end of the day, we can laugh about all this. This is all entertainment. This is all fun, and there's gonna be great story that we're gonna be able to pull from it. The only thing that would be miserable is if it looks like a Nathaniel Hackett coach team last year. But it's not gonna look like that. It's not. We have capable people here coaching. We have capable players here playing. We got a top end quarterback that if he came into the Pac-12 at pretty much any other year over the last 2 years, other than the last 2 years, if he had come into this conference, he would be a preseason all conference nominee off the bat. But I mean, when you got guys like Michael Penix, Cam Rising, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, and why am I forgetting his first name? Cam Ward on Washington State. The media is just they are going to give credit to the people that have already done it and shown it in the conference, and at the quarterback level, that have done it at a high level. Like, this is, I like that the Pac-12 is like blowing up on a really high note, because this is the most competitive that it's been as the Pac-12, and this is the best quarterback play that they've had in it, like as a conference, since it became the Pac-12. Like, this thing's going out with a shebang. David, yes, bro, she's a gymnast. I was one of the first ones to encourage her to get with the media. I swear, bro. About a month later, she had a job doing Colorado sports media and getting paid. Well, would you imagine that? I got to pick my time. I got to make sure my timing is right, right? Greg, I watch YouTube more than Max, Netflix, and regular TV combined these days. Yeah, it's where I get my news. It's where I get, my sports. It's where I get, so much. So, Yeah, it's it's crazy how things have changed. But man, I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you for hanging out with me for this past hour. Again, it blows my mind that y'all want to spend your evening with me or check this out on a replay. But y'all let me know in the comments of what you think. I'll do my best to get back at you. And as always, Sco Buffs.